have a limited time, you know, fill it with fun and adventure, and expect to occasionally be shocked and surprised. And I think when in doubt, make no sense. No sense is good, and nonsense is good.
Hey, so first thing we're going to talk about is I'm sort of developing this personality that I am on YouTube, and it's completely liquid from what I intended to do from the beginning, and certain things, just like the name of my musical project, Second Culture, I come up with these ideas, and I don't realize, like, wow, how powerful that was, of calling this Beyond Raw Food, because at the time, and originally I didn't really know what I wanted to call it. I think one of my first episodes was called A Step Beyond Raw Food, and that was only because, for me at the time, I was discovering grounding and medicinal mushrooms, which I thought was way outside of the world, the box that I'd been living in, as I call it, box living, people who live in a box that somebody else created. And hey, that's all well and good, especially if you feel like you're completely lost. And I've achieved this new level of wisdom of moving away from one of my great masters, who I will never forget. But I think that people, truth, of course, I think that people, because they feel a loyalty to a belief system or whatever, they stay with it. And it's like they get shown in a door, they walk through the door, and this is how I feel about Dan the Man Life Regenerator. Is just that the spirit and the intention of what's going on, there's a lot of lost people on this planet. And Dan's getting a huge amount of hits, and the spirit of what he's doing is right. But to me, it's like you're showing a lot of people the door, but it's like once you get through that door, you don't need to maintain an allegiance. You don't need to be an asshole like I've been at times, but I think that's part of what I do, because all of this being said, well, let me get down into an axiom of one of these things that I'm trying to say, is that basically you have a master, helps you out, shows you a door, and then once you start seeing holes in that master's protocol, so to speak, you need to not, like, some people I think just ignore that and think that that's a part, but that means you're starting to see things, for one thing, of realizing that maybe there's something wider than that master, and first off, if that person had the whole deal down, they wouldn't be here anymore, or they'd be able to shapeshift or do whatever, and I think there's plenty of people like that as well, you know, and so, that being said, is that, okay, you have your master, he gains you amazing amount of wealth to find yourself, and then once you start seeing holes in that master's protocol, you need to find another master to make yourself more well-rounded, and that doesn't matter. It's all about where your own journey is, of when that time comes, and for me, I was just realizing, as I said in one of my earlier videos, it's time for me to move on to Sandy, and as well as finding another master of, like, yes, perhaps it's time to really recognize that you are genuinely gaining the ability to know yourself. And that's when that's when it all starts coming, and that's where I'm getting on the other side of just like, there's more to life than all these supplements and all this food. The emotional and the mental are huge. It's like you can go up a huge incline of amazing potential, and you'll plateau out, or the angle that was once a steep evolution of progress is now flattened out, is either completely flat or a very slight steepness to it. And so that means it's time to move on. And so once you find where your master is not quite as fulfilling anymore, is you're going to be looking for another master to well round that out, and or you've become the true master of yourself, and or you find a new master. Okay, so that being said, I'm developing this YouTube personality, and I don't know where it's going. And to quote Paul, Three Treasure Tonic, of something that he said about comfrey root, which totally applies to me, is nothing here is rigid. It's all liquid. It's all up to change at any time. And anybody that wants to be a box liver and wants to subscribe to that, I'm going to be your worst motherfucking enemy! because you won't like me, because I generate love, hate in everybody. And you know what that tells me? Is I'm doing the right thing. Is when you generate love, hate in people, you know you're doing something right. So, anyways, that being said, I have to question about some things I've been doing, because I've had this very gentle, loving kind of approach about stuff. But then I just did something that I'm not sure is right. I sort of flamed the shit out of somebody on Zach's, on a post that Zach did, who was saying that, music looks, that you seem kind of like you're cocky, and that music that you play at the beginning, which is, I believe Zach's thing starts out with a Tibetan bowl, and then it goes to this Tibetan throat singing, which, if you're a stupid collective consciousness, dumb motherfucking American, fucking Eastern things look satanic. That's if you're completely fucking retarded and you're stuck in collective consciousness. And I'm sorry, I have no sympathy for this, because in the world of the internet and all of that stuff, you just need to open your goddamn mind, because it's just stupid. It's just wake up and evolve now. So, anyways, a lot of directions I want to take with stuff. I'm just going to propose some of this I'm definitely doing, and other things are proposals. So, to the community as I continue with this, wanting to do this first communal thing, or which I guess I'm going to be the linchpin for, and I don't mind being seen as that or doing that. That's a lot of what I've done in my life, is being sort of the linchpin for stuff, musically, as well as the business that I retired from, which was large-scale excavation. So the one I already started is My Personal Magic. That's going to be my ongoing blogging, as it is, or whatever, of my experiences with working with neuro-linguistic programming / psychic, in the form of my new master mentor, Sandy Steers, with the number 2 thing I want to do is I'm going to start doing gourmet raw food demos, because I don't see a lot of that on YouTube. And I really believe, as much as I criticize the raw food movement, I really do. I think that spending some time doing the raw diet is really, 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 even if you don't wind up there, it's really empowering, because what you're doing is moving out of the collective consciousness, which to me is the devil. I'm sorry. I know everybody wants to fit in, or most people. I definitely don't want to fit in. It's like, I don't. Of moving out of the collective consciousness, with the raw food diet, because it really goes against the grain in a lot of ways. And so I think spending time around your friends and your family and your all of this kind of stuff, of being so like removed from what the mainstream, what the television's telling you, what do you do, that kind of shit. It's empowering, and I think anybody that's like that's been there and is not doing that anymore. Well, I think maybe Brandon Damon's a good example of this, because I know he did raw foods, and I think he would say that, like, yeah, it was empowering to like do that and to help find myself, even though I don't know what degree he's doing that anymore. I think Zach would say the same thing, and so we'll just leave the video on here. I won't screw with this little section, because just in case you think I'm hiding something with fucking with all the colors, it's just expression coming from me, and that's ultimately what I'm all about. So I had a little disruption from Skype there. I talked to my friend in Greece. Big thing I've been doing is networking with people, starting with that weekend thing. But I don't want to digress too much. I won't change the color on this, just for whatever, for my critics, if there are any still, or if anybody gives a rat's ass. I know I've gotten plenty of people who are enjoying it, and I know I enjoy it, and I feel better doing it because I don't feel like such a scientist. Anyway, so the things that I have some like great ideas for stuff I want to do. And another thing that I'm going to be popping up is I realized there's a lot of short videos that I can do, and it's really not my thing. But I realized if I stay very centralized with, for example, I have a take on fruitarianism, which is very positive about why, because I think it's as a sustainable diet. As in the physical, I think it's kind of bullshit, as you know. And so that being said, I'm going to start a thing called Beyond Raw Food haikus, which are going to be short videos from me. One of the first ones that just drives me crazy is all these stupid motherfuckers that don't know how to open up a young Thai coconut, because there's a very simple way to do it, and they sit there and it's like pieces of stuff all inside the coconut, and there's a guaranteed way to open up a young Thai coconut that works like 9 times out of 10, and it's clean, surgical. Even Mr. Holy David Wolf opens a young Thai coconut wrong, in my humble opinions. So the haikus, and then I'm thinking this bigger thing, like there's going to be changes in 2012 here. I know that, I just think that like a bunch of us like ought to like, tell me what you think, ought to form this sort of global alliance kind of thing for people that want to get well. That's not like, that's not dogmatic. That's like offering people that are like doing cooked food, that are finding results and whatever, because because just in the world of raw food dogma stupidity, it's just some people cannot digest raw food. Simple, plain. You know, it just doesn't work. And so the raw food puritanical stupid fucks would have you think that everybody needs to do raw food. Just not true. As well as things like people with O blood tend to, you know, and so it would just be great. I'm proposing this, if all of us that are like-minded, that are open-minded, could somehow, I don't know how we would do it, of just form this alliance. If people want to just come and go, oh, wow, where you sift through all this stupid shit, where you don't have to like deal with what if you just want it. Because I've gotten very low criticism. I've been kind of a shit motherfucker on here, and I've gotten very low thumbs down from some of my shitty stuff that I've done, of people like, I'm glad somebody did that, and I will remain that way, loving whatever. So it's time for Song of the Day. So yes, I am just going to carry on with recommending every single song off of this album. Yeah, great album, U.F.Orb. Towers of Dub is a really amazing creative song. Starts out with a prank call. And some of the versions, I had a hard time actually finding this album versions, because there's a lot of versions. A lot of great thing I loved about the Orb is that you could find maybe 7 versions of a song that were not just these kind of stupid remixes that everybody does. They were genuinely very different versions. And so the album version begins with a prank call of somebody calling into the lobby or something of a big hotel and asking if Haile Selassie is there. Who's calling, sir? Marcus Garvey. And I don't really know my Rastafarian trivia, but I know that Haile Selassie and Marcus Garvey, did I say that name right, are 2 individuals that would be very sort of important in the Rastafarian religion. And so, of course, the hotel lobby guy does not recognize that, and they're not there or whatever. And so this is just the kind of stuff that I like that the Orb did a lot of, this just sort of merry prankster kind of stuff. Anyways, enjoy. The song of the day is another one of my favorite tracks by my favorite bands off my favorite albums, Towers of Dub by the Orb.